Good morning. I'm David Basinger, the Chief Academic Officer here at Roberts Wesleyan College, and I'd like to welcome you to this Red Talks session this morning. TED Talks are small, focused, or short, focused discussions on issues of interest to the public. Our variation are short, focused discussions on issues of interest to Roberts, in this case. And today we're focusing on our institutes. We have new institutes. We have Security and Justice Institute, or Justice and Security Institute is a better way of saying it. We have Business Solutions Institute. We have ELI, English Language Institute, and we also have an Intellectual and Spiritual Humility Institute. We're going to focus this morning first on the Business Solutions Institute, and we have Mary Roddy here, who's the director of that institute. She's going to introduce herself and then give us a talk titled Spilling the Tea, and then you'll have a chance to ask questions. Let's welcome Mary.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. And thanks for coming out on an early Saturday morning, particularly when it's such a beautiful fall day. Really appreciate having you here. What I'm planning to talk about this morning is really how BSI came to be, how we fit with the Customer Engagement Center. I hope many of you have seen the announcement about the center, but we'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about how at the heart of the Business Solutions Institute, we're really focused on training and skills development, and I'll give you some insights there. Also want to talk and share with you some of our participant feedback from our current program, the Advancing Leadership, which is meeting with a great deal of success. We'll talk a little bit about what's upcoming in our program and in our offerings. We've got some exciting stuff coming in November and at the beginning of the year, so we'll share that with you. And then, of course, I'm going to ask you to join me in helping promote the Business Solutions Institute and really make it a strong presence in our business community. So with that said, won't belabor this a great deal, but that's me. I've been with the Business Solutions Institute as director for the past 5 going on 6 months now, and really enjoyed the experience. Just a quick snapshot, I come from corporate America, multiple decades there, across a wide variety of functions. Everything from sales, sales management, national sales management, but also about 2/3 of my career in marketing. And that includes both program, product, and international and global marketing. So with that said, quite a breadth of experience, which I found is very helpful as we start up the Business Solutions Institute. So what you saw in the first visual was the spilling the tea. Does anybody know what spilling the tea might mean? All right, let me share with you. It is a current acronym for getting together, putting your heads together, and kind of gossiping a bit. We're not going to gossip this morning. We're going to actually exchange information. So please feel free to get your questions ready for me, and we'll have a great dialogue. So how did BSI come to be? And actually, this is true for the institutes as a whole. Dr. Porterfield, our lead supporter, actually had the vision and pulled together a task force of business leaders here in the community. They had a great exchange, and they actually talked at length about what those small and medium business needs are in the greater Rochester area. With that information, she went off and thought about how best Roberts could play a role in meeting those needs. And sure enough, the Business Solutions Institute was the outcome of that particular task force interaction. I think you guys are probably a little familiar with our vision for Roberts, and you'll see that the institutes play a very key role. You're going to hear more this morning about the other various institutes, so it'll be a great exposure to how we all come together and fit within the umbrella Community Engagement Center. So we're excited to push forward in each of our various institutes and share that detail with you. So as far as the Business Solutions Institute goes, we are acting as a hub for business and organizations to really enjoy resources that we can bring to bear that perhaps they don't have the capability in their own business to fulfill. So I usually talk about this in terms of sales resources, sales training resources, management resources, leadership development resources, all the resources that might come to bear in a business setting where someone is selling either a product or a service and supporting their customers. So customer service is a big part of what we'll be able to offer. So when you look at the communities as a whole, the need to be able to recruit and retain talent is really a critical need at this point, and the ability to train and make employees more productive is a key element. So our mission is really to bring those resources, that training, that type of development to bear, and to actually then help those businesses grow, both in terms of profitable revenue and in terms of employee skills and depth. So that's really our mission. What we have heard early on in the initial work I've been able to do in talking with the various associations in the community, as well as business owners and business leaders, really is reflected in this voice of the business community slide here. As I alluded to, talent recruitment is a key and critical need. The retention of skilled employees, and particularly after you make the investment in them, you want to retain them as part of your business, and then to build skills along the way. I hear frequently, help me come up with ideas, profitable ways to grow my business. Help my people be more productive. We want them to be able to do a great job, but we want them to be able to do an even greater job. So how do I develop them? Management skills as a whole is still a very hot area. That has to do with teaching managers how to train employees, but also teaching managers how to be the best leaders possible. And that is a significant opportunity we have with the Advancing Leadership Program I'll show you in just a bit. Have heard a lot over the course of the past 6 weeks in terms of particular generations in the workforce. So the way I've captured it here on the slide is being able to help and support the transition, both of millennials and of Gen Z workers into the workplace. Each generation comes with a few unique needs and differences. Some employers are really struggling with how to best adapt to those generations. So I've gotten a lot of input in terms of what would be helpful in those areas. And we're in the throes of doing a course development to meet those needs. There's also a great need for small business management and financial perspectives and offerings. Luckily, we have a great resource, or 2 or 3 or 4, here on campus that will allow us to build some program offerings in the overall business management and business finance area, but also in personal finance, which gives it yet another dimension. And we have an opportunity to create, based on the strength of our strategic marketing program here at the college, to actually condense and bring forward some of those key marketing tenets that will allow us to share and grow and build marketing skills and savvy with business owners, marketing managers, both new and tenured, and generally speaking, folks who wear a lot of different hats in small businesses who may not have a dedicated marketing person. So we'll be bringing value along those lines as well. Excuse me just a second. It's allergy season. Okay, I'm going to switch gears for just a second and talk to you a little bit about I've alluded to the fact that we've done a lot of informal interviews, a lot of business input solicitation, but we're actually now at the point where we're going out and are going to officially do research, a formal survey approach with the greater Rochester area community. So on Monday, after all the fun events of this homecoming weekend, I'll be preparing the final communication, and on Tuesday, 10/1, we will be issuing a formal input survey, short 5-minute survey, but very pointed and very tactical questions that will help us, again, solidify our priorities, our focus, and allow us to develop those highest priority deliverables that most businesses here in the area can benefit from. The survey will run roughly about 2 weeks. I'll remind people along the way and then give them a last chance. Some of the folks that you see here in the category below are those audiences we will touch for input, and that includes folks like our National Business Council, it includes our Board of Trustee members, it includes personal business leaders and contacts that we have developed over the last year, 18 months, and then referrals that we've been provided as well. If for any reason you have folks that you would like to add to this list, in the business community, by all means, just get in touch with me. I'd be happy to add them. I have through close of the day on Monday to do that. So please bring them forward if you think they can be helpful. Let's talk for a second about the program that is having stellar success inside the Business Solution Institute. And that is a program led by the infamous Dr. Joel Humans. He has just finished his third delivery of the program in its entirety. We split the Maximus Healthcare sessions into those that we deliver here on campus at Roberts and those that are delivered at Maximus's site in Albany. Dr. Joel has really pulled together with his great expertise in leadership and his background in strategic leadership and development, a wonderful program that's really cutting edge when it comes to the concepts of leadership, the values of being a leader, the way to cross-functionally work as a leader in any given environment. And I'm going to play a snippet here for you in just a second with the feedback from a couple of the participants. One of our stellar standout accounts is Maximus Healthcare. We have, as I say, done multiple sessions for them. We've already built their 2020 plan for training, so very excited about that. We'll be doing sessions through the beginning of spring and then ending by midsummer, so that's exciting. Maximus is a pretty significant local business, not technically in that small to medium business company size that is our sweet spot target, but certainly we will do business with anyone. So Maximus does have significant revenues, significant employees, and a significant presence. So we hope that based on the huge success we're having with them, that healthcare will become one of those vertical industries that we'll be able to be very successful with. And by the way, the Advancing Leadership program is not industry specific. It is generic in the sense that any industry, any management group, any team members inside a team working environment can benefit from this particular program. So if all goes well, which, oh yeah, the link, of course. We're going to hear very briefly from Dr. Porterfield. She's going to frame the Business Solutions Institute, and then we're going to hear 2 glowing testimonials.
My name is Dr. Dina Porterfield, and I'm excited to tell you about the new Community Institutes at Roberts Wesleyan College. We took a look at what it is that Roberts has to offer. Our motto of education for character, the ability to train beyond the classroom, and we launched the Business Solutions Institute, which will focus on workforce development by supporting small to medium-sized businesses and helping them fulfill their training needs as they compete in the marketplace.
So I think the best part of the program and what I'm taking away from it is the real insight that it gave each of us participants in terms of introspection, self-reflection, and how we can take those skills and what we've kind of talked and learned about throughout and kind of adapt them into our own leadership styles. I think that's a tremendous value for each of us. I think we've also learned a lot about ourselves and about each other.
I've become more self-aware, not only of my skills and value, but I also have learned a lot about the other team members that I work with on a daily basis and their leadership roles, and really the values that they have and the strength that they bring to the table. So it has really tightened our leadership group in a working relationship. We have gotten to know each other a lot better.
We believe that the institutes are not only right for Roberts Wesleyan, but also right for Rochester. It's an amazing opportunity for us to come together with this community and provide the best expertise that we have with the needs of what's happening in the community around us.
And that was actually just two of the testimonials I was able to capture. I have many more. We'll start to populate these kinds of feedback onto the BSI webpage, so more people can experience and become acquainted with, the power of what we have to deliver in the area of leadership. In terms of other things we have coming up, excited to be able to announce that we will be delivering our first BSI webinar called Excellence, Ethics for the Workplace on November 12th. It'll be an hour-long session. We'll be tapping into the expertise and talents of two of Robert's own, Dr. Andy Kale and Dr. Carly McCabe. We also will have a facilitator that's been helping us pull together this particular program and format. She's an adjunct professor from George Washington University. So it should be a dynamite program. We'll set up the live stream in the fireplace room at Golisano Library. So it'll be a nice, informal, interactive type of webinar. I would encourage you to come along and join us. There'll be registration information coming up on the BSI webpage here within the next week. So look for that. But what we're really aiming for here with this particular topic, because it is so timely and there's such a high interest in terms of ethical practices and ethical approaches in the workplace, we're really excited. We've got some great content, probably enough for 2 or 3 phases past this webinar, so we're planning ahead. But it really kind of says in the descriptor here, we spend so much time at work and we work with other people. So guess what happens? Issues and situations come up that really get to the core of our values and how we're going to respond to those issues. So this webinar is really built around not just the facts and the research of why ethics in the workplace are important from a productivity standpoint, but also then take that into, these are some of the real world situations that will or can occur. And what would you do? So we've got some what would you do scenarios right up front in the webinar, and then we'll have another series of those as we close out the webinar. The great thing is, this being a fee-based webinar, participants will be able to have both actionable and takeaways that they can use on an ongoing basis. So what we will provide is what we've talked about in the webinar itself in terms of ethical guidelines, but we'll also provide them with tools and resources and actual workbook to go with the session. We'll also be challenging our participants to actually do a values-based action plan, one of their personal own or one that would help their company in a given way. And then I'll be providing a digital certificate of completion that they made it through the webinar. So we're excited about that. And we're also in the throes of planning a marketing event that I mentioned at the beginning of our session. This will be called Maximizing Your Marketing Plan. We tagline it as our Boost Your Brand workshop. This will be a day-long workshop here on campus, Schuon Hall. It will be really marketing focused, marketing plan focused. The audience would include any marketing manager, new or tenured, any business owner, any business manager that has to wear a marketing hat and may not feel fully equipped to be able to leverage marketing to the degree that it can be done. So with that said, our marketing plan will show them ways to both engage new customers and deliver profitable revenue growth, but doing that with a really solid marketing plan as that foundational document. So we'll be teaching them about marketing plan fundamentals. We'll actually be doing exercises with SME subject matter expert support right in the room, allowing folks, if they don't have a value proposition for their business, to actually create one while they're in the workshop with us. If they do have one, we'll do kind of an audit and see how that might want to be changed, and actually, help assist them in redoing their value proposition if that's the case. And again, also with this event workshop, we'll provide a digital certificate of completion and a corresponding workbook. We're working that very closely with Dr. Laura Felco, who many of you may know. We are in the throes of soliciting and recruiting one of our local dignitaries in the marketing field. So I'm not in a position yet to be able to announce who our keynote guest speaker will be, but that will be forthcoming very soon. So again, we're excited about that. And the date on this one is January 9th, 2020. Nothing like coming out to campus in the middle of, please, no snowstorm, no blizzard. That's the only fear I have. So if we get a good weather day, life is going to be good. Okay, so let me close. We've got a few minutes for questions that might have occurred to you based on what I've shared. But I wanted to ask you to please come on board as a BSI ambassador. If you'd be so kind as to tell your friends and your coworkers and your network about us and what we can bring to bear, that will really help the cause. Any ideas, questions, or professional development that you have seen in the marketplace, please bring to our attention, because we're always open for input. If you can in any way promote or attend or support our program offerings, please do. And then if you are in a position where you have areas of expertise that might come along with a program offering, please engage me. I'd love to have that conversation and see what we might be able to make of that. So with that said, I'm going to put a shameless plug in, because I'm so excited about these. Sam, can you hold up our little cloth and our little tea bag? We have the first of the BSI marketing promotional materials. We've got the wonderful cleaning cloth, great on glasses, cell phones, laptop screens, whatever. No, I was going to say my husband's going to use one to clean the windshield on his truck, but that would be inappropriate. So please feel free to take one of the cleaning cloths. And also, in the spirit of spilling the tea, we have tea bags with the BSI logo and URL as well. So please help yourself to those on the way out. Appreciate it. And with that said, Dave, I think we better ask questions.
Let's first thank Mary for her presentation. We have time for a few questions. This is being taped, so I'll bring the mic to you before you ask your question. Well, but it's being taped, so we need to hear your voice.
Oh, well, if I'd known that. I just want to make sure I got it correctly. So you mainly focus on small and medium businesses, and is that because large businesses should be able to do this kind of thing for themselves?
In most cases, that's commonly the situation. So as an example, any company of size and corporation of size most likely has, in these, I'll just go back to my examples, a marketing department that's dedicated, et cetera. So they might not have quite the degree of need. Not to say that there might not be a need, because let's use the ethics webinar as an example. I honestly think the ethics webinar will appeal to all size businesses. But where the real pain points seem to be in our community, when you look at Rochester, there's such a wealth of small and medium-sized businesses, those that are 200 employees or less, or X amount of revenue or less, and they just simply don't have the resources or the personnel to be able to hit necessarily all of the skill set areas that could help them be successful. So, but yes, as I mentioned, we will take companies of all sizes. In fact, actually, I hope to be able to support some of the larger ones too, because I do believe there are probably some sweet spots that aren't perhaps as well served as they could be. Great question, thank you.
not a question, but an observation. I was talking to Dr. Homans yesterday after he completed some of his one of his most recent training sessions, and focused around leadership. And he was commenting about one of the attendees at the beginning of the session. They were asked to write their own personal mission statement, and she said that she wasn't really into that activity and didn't really want to do it. And at the end of the sessions, she came back, circled back around, and said how impactful that had been for her. And I've heard this indirectly from a number of people who have been through the leadership component of the training. And while the training is often kind of focused on how it can impact the organization, I think a side benefit of that is how it's impacting individual employees and individual leaders, which then, obviously, if you have more engaged individuals who understand themselves better and the kind of contribution they're making to their organization helps from a retention standpoint and a job satisfaction standpoint. So there are significant residual benefits, I think, to an organization that goes through that type of a training and values audit exercise.
Yeah, and that's the most rewarding thing about our situation with Maximus is that it's now really on a roll. Those impacts have started to filter across the organization, and that's what put us in such a great position to be able to do, more sessions for them next year. And that's also kind of at the heart of what Todd Hines' comments talked about as well. I've had the lovely opportunity to sit in on the first leadership session that Joel delivered here on campus, and over the course of that 4 sessions, as you've just described, Steve, it's wonderful to see where the group starts, the enlightenment that happens, how they start to work together, leveraging the individual strengths, and then where they finish. It's a really powerful experience. And just to cap that off, because I know Irv's got a question and we probably need to transition, but the first group that went through here at Roberts is actually presenting their company action plan to senior management here in Rochester on October 2nd, and Joel and I will be participating in that. So we'll get a chance to see what they're doing from the professional aspect, from the company aspect with their actions, which is great.
Yeah, so I have an idea and a question. The idea comes from having been an owner of a furniture store. The operational leader really had access to things that colleges normally only have access, or larger companies, so we could compare what that small business was doing to industry norms or industry standards. And so I think that's something that could be provided. And then we often had suppliers that were much larger than us. And so how to manage those relationships, given that in that industry it was the #1 most significant cost. So the question really is thinking about the vision as I see the unrolling of different offerings. It looks more like a McKinsey consulting kind of approach, but I can't help, now that it's publicly known that we have a big donor in Tom Golisano, and thinking about Paychecks, that built its business off of really offering one focused. Is there an area that we focus, or are we more broad in the vision of BSI?
Thanks, sir, for the question. I appreciate that. Right now, we're taking a pretty broad approach. Broad but tailored, I would say. Going back to the comment that I made, we honestly believe, both in terms of resources that are available locally, as well as the business needs, and I'm hoping that my survey will help, again, confirm this. But I honestly believe we have opportunities in sales training, customer service training, and management training. Because those, by and large, are usually left to the corporate environment or the company environment, and those continue to come up as explicit needs for help and assistance. So when I look at my umbrella, and as I start the 2020 planning, those will be at least 3 key areas I'll be looking at. And then obviously we'll tap into some one-off expertise. The ethics webinar came to be because it was one of those broad, overarching overarching umbrella-type situations, which any business in any industry could benefit from. So as far as our direction right now, I would say those 3 primary areas and then some umbrella areas as a combo approach for right now. And I'm sure we'll see changes in evolution over time, but that's the current approach.
Let's thank Mary once more for sharing with us.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.